Looking back at Oregon's loss at Utah, Joey Mac alongside Rob Moseley. The final score of 32-25 brings the Ducks to 6-4 overall, 3-4 in conference. Another slow start, unfortunately, for Oregon on the road.
Yeah, you try to pinpoint reasons for it, and you look back at some plays the other night, and you wonder if maybe they were so aware of that guys are trying too hard. I mean, Tony Brooks James has a little swing pass where, I'm sure he was trying to get his head upfield and see how much yardage he could get. Wasn't able to secure the ball. Got out a little high on a guy trying to set a blitz or a pass protection on a blitzer, and the guy was able to get by him and get to Herbert. I think guys have to find that right balance of being focused and locked in and attentive to wanting to start fast, but without doing a little too much. If you're a defender, kind of getting over aggressive and overrunning a gap, things like that. At this point, I think guys are a little lost for explanations for why that would be. They come around, you ask guys why it is, and they come around to, I guess you could say that, yeah, maybe we're too amped up, or what, but even that, they're just sort of trying to talk themselves into it. Even they're not 100% sure how to explain why things have been so different on the road as opposed to at home.
Coach Griswold did mention, though, that this team snapped out of it a little bit quicker on the road this time. Against Arizona, you mentioned it before we started recording, that they never really got going. They at least did snap out of it a bit.
Yeah, it wasn't. These performances weren't obviously in order, but Arizona, you never really got going. Washington State, second half was much different than the first half. The other day, the second quarter, really, things started to get clicking. And if the end of that first half goes different, where maybe Oregon makes a field goal and Utah doesn't dunk one from 60-something yards out, that looked like it could have been good from 70. Things would have been a lot different. I think a little tighter at halftime, and it changes kind of the dynamic of halftime. It's interesting now with Arizona State coming up. I thought that this game against Utah was a lot like Oregon's game at Arizona State last year, where you fall behind early, you fight and finally claw into a lead in the middle of the fourth quarter, only to watch the home team sort of gird itself and answer and come away with the win. So, gonna have to bounce back from that.
The offensive line, we knew going in that Jake Hansen would not be able to play in the first half due to his, what we'll call, questionable targeting suspension. I think that's fair. So Jake Hansen wasn't in there. Calvin Throckmorton again showing his versatility. The thoughts on the offensive line throughout the game? Ducks had to use a lot of different faces.
They did, and then they're having to use a lot of different personnel groupings. We saw Stephen Jones start the game at left tackle, third different guy to start at left tackle. He gets hurt late in the game. George Moore's in there. Throckmorton had to play over there. He played at least 3 different positions in this game. You're just trying to patch it together. It's the same thing over in the linebacker core, where Samson New starts for just the second time this year because Apello and Slade Matautia are out, and then he gets banged up, and Keith Sims is in there. And I thought Sims performed admirably. I didn't notice him a ton. There's a lot of plays where the safeties and cornerbacks were making tackles, and Troy Dye obviously all over the place, but Troy said, hey, we're going to watch the film. We're going to see that Keith was doing his job, filling his gap. So that was good to see, good progress for him, particularly if he's got to play a bunch going forward. But you're just at that time of year when you're trying to sort of patch together and hold on for dear life. This coaching staff obviously wants a chance to recruit for a couple of years and build up this team's depth. It's probably not where they want it to be just yet. So you are seeing some drop-off when starters get hurt, unfortunately. 2 games left in the season. You just got to kind of hang on, fight to the finish, and see what you can make of this.
How about Adrian Jackson's play? The opening kickoff, he makes a tremendously acrobatic tackle. He also made that great recovery on that punt that really kind of sparked Oregon. Unfortunately, got hurt in this game, but some special teams performances from Adrian Jackson were pretty special.
That's what you want to see. You want to see young guys saying, "Hey, I might not be a starter on defense or offense. I might have come here hoping I was going to get those reps, and then reality hits, and veteran guys are holding on to their jobs. But hey, if I get some chances on special teams, I'm going to take advantage." And he definitely did that. Utes tried some trickery with that reverse on the opening kickoff, and he did everything he possibly could to upset that play, and then jumping on the punt as well. I mean, just what a momentum changer that was. So that was good to see too. He of course is on the injury list by the end of the game too as well. So. Some question marks obviously going forward, but Arizona State's in the same boat. They got a guy coming in this week who has a targeting ejection that carried over into the first half. They've got some injuries too, so there's still a lot on the table for this team. I mean, they haven't won a bowl game since that 2014 Rose Bowl. They have a chance to win as many as 9 games still for the first time since 2015. So there's still a lot on the table. And it's just a matter of pushing through these last 2 regular season games into the postseason.
Talk about Arizona State too. You might see the matchup of 2 of the best wide receivers in the conference. Probably the 2 best wide receivers in the conference. In N'Keal Harry for Arizona State. Dylan Mitchell had another great performance. 8 catches, 169 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That'll be kind of fun to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw a lot of reasons why he's getting targeted so much in this game. You know, first of all, he is just making plays. There's just no doubt about it. And second of all, some other guys just when they get opportunities aren't taking advantage of them. So you just keep going with what's working. And right now, what's working for Justin Herbert is throwing to Dylan Mitchell and throwing to Dylan Mitchell a lot. You know, he's I think he's like 5th or 6th in the country among guys when he's targeted in terms of getting a first down. When he's targeted, I mean, it just works out when you throw the ball his way. So, you know, it's at this point you just appreciate it. It's fun to watch that connection. But yeah, that Manny Wilkinson to N'Keal Harry connection is deadly too. And they beat the Ducks using that combination last year. So Oregon's gonna have to scheme up some ways to try to slow them down.
Ducks, unfortunately, falling to Utah on the road and now getting ready for Senior Day. It'll be kind of cool for Senior Day. It's always emotional on Senior Day.
It will, you know, particularly those 5th-year guys. Tony Brooks-James we mentioned, Justin Hollins, Jalen Jelks. Matrell McGraw, and then Devin Melendez, the long snapper. Only five guys that were still around from that 2014 team. Holland's the only guy that actually played that season before redshirting the next year with an injury. So it's crazy to think. In some ways, 2014 seems like forever ago, but there's still some last connections to that group on this current team. So it'll be fun to celebrate those guys. They've sure seen a lot over the last 5 years.
Ducks are 6-4, 3-4 in conference, looking to finish strong. Still a very good bowl game could be on the horizon if the Ducks can take care of business. 7:30 kickoff on Pac-12 Networks live from Autzen Stadium. Ducks against the Sun Devils on Senior Day.